So over the course of the last few weeks, a lot of people have been asking themselves, where is the Marvel Spider-Man 2 DLC? Because Marvel Spider-Man Remastered had a sort of, few DLCs, right? And the thing about that is, those DLCs were announced and then they released later. But of course it's okay for us to expect DLC because this was such a huge game, and then there was a lot of things that were teased that could probably be tied up in a DLC of some sorts, like the whole Carnage thing, Chameleon, all that stuff, right? That was all teased. There's something that we got to talk about in regards to the DLCs, because it's okay to expect it, but it's been 6 months since the release of the game, and so far we haven't heard a single thing from the devs, besides maybe getting some suits and some updates to do with suits and fixing old bugs and other things, and of course New Game Plus as well. Don't forget New Game Plus, that's one of the biggest updates. So there's also a rumored like PlayStation Showcase or something of the lines of that maybe this month, but at the same time I wouldn't hold my breath for it. But for me personally, when it comes to DLCs, I'm perfectly content with what we got, as long as the next game or the next entry, whatever it might be, is very well polished, isn't pushed at all, in terms of like pushing it out faster before the quality of the product itself. Because lately there's been a lot of things that have been very questionable. Like if you've probably heard of the Helldivers 2 controversy, even if you don't play it, but Sony forced pretty much everybody who bought the game to sign up for an account to be able to play it. But the thing is, in around 69 countries, they're not able to make a PSN account, and if you use a VPN to try to circumvent that, then you risk being banned, and that wasn't okay. So the Helldivers community, like usual, came together and beat another major order, right, which was Sony, and it was like hundreds of thousands of negative reviews on Steam, which was the way to do it. Even the devs agreed, because the decision was pretty poor, because they said they wanted to, include this at the start, but then they didn't because, the servers were being overloaded. But you can't turn this onto people that are playing the game from the countries that you now want to not include, right? So they're overturning it now, and hopefully within like the next week or so, it's completely overturned so everyone can play it. But this is what I mean when I say studios are being weird. And then even like the Xbox like game studio as well has been laying off like fantastic game developers. Like I'm pretty sure the studio's like called Tango Gameworks, who worked on HiFi Rush, which is one of the Xbox's like most successful games, which just baffles me. So the gaming industry right now is kind of crazy, so I wouldn't expect much. And then there's also the fact that with Insomniac Games as well, they've got like a skeleton crew working on Marvel Spider-Man 2, right? So they've got a skeleton crew because most of their people right now are working on Marvel's Wolverine. That's the main focus of the devs. They're just trying to make sure that that game's ready to be, well, not ready to be shipped, but, they've got trailers to make, promotions, other stuff, because Marvel Spider-Man 2 is done now, right? Like it's shipped out the door, it's done, but there's just a lot going on as well with Insomniac that you don't know. Well, you might know, you might not know, but Insomniac Games was hit with like one of the worst data breaches, I think, in the history of data breaches when it comes to this stuff, because they were threatened by the hackers to release their private data unless they were paid $2 million, and obviously Insomniac refused to do that, so millions of files were posted online. And that's the worst part. Like they had all their like roadworks, they had like files for games, there's just a ton of terrible things like up until like 2030 or past that. And as a company after that, it's like you gotta take a look at your priorities. Like, do you worry about a DLC, or do you try to worry about trying to see what was affected, which employees were affected, what's going on, what about future games? And even like cancelled games as well were brought to light. I haven't covered any of this on videos or anything like that, but I'm sure if you look it up, you'll know what I'm talking about, because, I don't want to talk about it because I feel bad for them that was revealed, right? So there's a lot going on there. So it's like, how can you ask them or pressure them to worry about DLCs? Because like they're probably still scrambling right now to try to figure things out. And it's still good that they're providing updates for us for Marvel Spider-Man 2 and things, and we're going to be grateful for certain things as well. And of course, when it comes to this as well, there was another thing that happened when New Game Plus update went live, which was the debug menu or dev menu, which if you don't know, it's what devs use to kind of test different things much quicker, to see the stability of the game and other things like that. That's very accessible. And because everybody was able to see this in their game, I'm just going to talk about a specific thing that everybody saw, which was the Beetle DLC. Beetle's one of those, like, not, A-list villains, more like probably C tier. But I always like to see what Insomniac and, can do with something like a villain like that can make them interesting and make them fun. So that was possibly teased, but at the same time, with how much content, like how much crazy content was cut from Marvel Spider-Man 2, at this point, I am starting to suspect that we possibly won't be getting this DLC. Now, this isn't anything, like me saying it against like Insomniac or something, but it's more specifically they're probably seeing the success of the reaction to Venom, because there's a lot of things that were cut with Venom, like a lot of different like movement things, and there's just a ton of things that were cut in general that just makes me believe that the game was rushed, which is unfortunate because Insomniac performs at its best when the game is done to its fullest, when they're able to realize their vision to the fullest. Because with Spider-Man 2018 or Spider-Man Remastered, they cooked so hard. That game was fantastic all the way through, but you can obviously tell there's just something missing with Marvel Spider-Man 2. Like, obviously they even cut the whole thing where you're just meant to fight Venom through the city and have destructible environments. That was found in the files as well and things like that. So there's just a whole bunch of stuff that was cut. But going back to it, I personally think they're probably just going to move all of these planned DLCs and maybe wrap them up in a sort of Marvel's Venom spin-off styled game, kind of like what they did for Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales. Because personally, if you look at all the Carnage stuff that was going on, I think the perfect way to introduce Carnage properly would be to have Venom in there as well. And I don't know how they'd even reintroduce Venom at this point. Like, would they have Harry? Would they have like Eddie Brock introduced? Because we'd have to play as Venom from the very start of the game. Like, there's a lot to kind of think about there. But a whole Venom game would be incredible, like being able to swing around using those giant wings. Like, there's a whole lot of potential with stuff like that. And if you move Carnage in there, and maybe Chameleon. I mean, Chameleon's more related to Spider-Man, so you'd probably have to have Spider-Man be playable as well in that game. So even if it's like a kind of a bigger sort of DLC expansion type game with like a different season going on, like kind of with Miles Morales, where it was kind of like, winter and it was snowing and all that stuff, it could still work. So they could kind of just have a whole different game as the whole quote-unquote DLC, while they bridge the gap between, Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel Spider-Man 3, and then they really take their time because they've also teased, Silk, aka Cindy Moon, which was introduced at the end of Marvel Spider-Man 2, which is a huge thing if we're able to have like 3 Spider people to play as, and they all have like unique playstyles. Like Pete has anti-venom and his own webbing, Miles has, his electric powers, and then Silk could just like go crazy with webbing in general, like maybe even have constructs of some sort. I don't know exactly what a power set is when it comes to it, but it would be quite interesting to see. So there's a whole lot of interesting stuff that they can do, but I genuinely believe at this point that the DLC, you shouldn't keep your hopes up, because that's how we kind of get crushed. So just kind of maybe just think about it, but don't expect a DLC announcement or something, Right now, the only thing we should probably be looking forward to is more like Marvel's Wolverine like teasers, and also the upcoming alpha test for Marvel Rivals, which I really hope I get a code for, man. Apparently it's only for like, I think, North America and Canada, and everyone else could probably get one if they watch streams. So worst comes to worst, I'll do that, but I definitely want to cover that game on the channel. So let me know what you guys think. Like, do you think that Marvel Rivals, or would you guys play that? And also with Marvel Spider-Man 2 DLC, do you think it'll come out, or do you think it's better if they actually move that to a whole different thing like Marvel's Venom and keep it like that? Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Take care.